Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll get notified of each new video as they come out.
Hey everybody, I'm JJ Johnson. You're watching Reality Survival. And so today I just wanted to talk about 12 things that preppers should teach their children. I got this idea from a video that Nut and Fancy did recently. He talked about, I don't remember what the exact title was, but it was probably very similar to this. So recommend you guys go check that one out also. It is long, and I got about 3 or 4 minutes into it, and I was like, maybe I'll stop watching this and I'll go make mine, put my things down, what I think you should teach your children, or some important ones anyway, and then I'll go back and watch his and see how close we are. So that's what my plan is to do. Is after I put this out, then I'll go watch his and see what we both came up with. Anyway, so the first one, let me just say that I'm not saying that all of my children have got all of these things mastered, or that I'm a perfect parent or anything like that. I have raised 3 kids, and they're doing well and all that kind of stuff. They're good citizens and everything, but I'm not perfect by any stretch. So the first one here is be resilient. I think this is an important one, and these are not necessarily in any particular order because all of them could be important at some point in their lives. But they need to understand that bad things happen in life. We don't always win, and when you lose, you need to learn from it, get back up and try again. Failure is nothing but another opportunity to succeed. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Be resilient. So that's one. The next one is situational awareness. And, this is just overall important for everybody. And I would say that these things might apply to adults as well. But with your kids, you can quiz them on where they need to go if something bad happens at that particular moment, wherever you are. What should they do? Where should they rally up? Where should they hide? What does good cover look like? What's the difference between cover and concealment? Teach them where exits are typically located in restaurants and how to get to them and those kinds of things. What to do if they hear gunshots? What do they do? Do they just take off running crazy, or do they go to the nearest cover, or what? Also, I try to work with my kids a lot on cardinal directions. Quiz them when you're driving. Hey, which direction are we heading? Why do you know that? How can you tell? Those kinds of things. It's going to help them be better drivers later on and have better situational awareness of where they're at and where they're going. And I teach them the roads that we use and how we get from place to place, so that they know what the major roads in the area are and where they lead, and that kind of thing. Number 3 is self-defense. Teach your children how to fight, wrestle, box, kickbox, whatever the case may be. Teach them how to defend themselves. Teach them what to do if someone was to grab them and try to kidnap them. Do they know how to react? What to do, what to say, what to scream, what to yell, where to hit people, where the vulnerable areas are in the eyes, and, different things along those lines. This can be done, in pretty early ages through rough and tumble play, and as they reach their teen years, and maybe even a little younger, through formal instruction as well, and the age really depends on the maturity level of the child. For me, what I've always done is I don't put my kids in to an activity until they want to do it, until they ask me about doing it. I don't really force them to do things because it's been our experience that the times that we have tried that, it just didn't work. They didn't pay attention. They didn't like it. It was a waste of money. So I wait until they're at the age where they're ready for it. But I'm continually kind of testing those waters and seeing when they're ready, if that makes sense. So yeah, teach them self-defense. All right, number 4, teach your children to speak up, but know when to listen. Teach them the skill of knowing when to speak their mind and when to stand up for their opinion and when to take orders, and do what they're told, because there's a difference. They need to know when they can give their opinion and when they just need to be quiet and get it done. All right, that's important for emergency situations, I think. You don't want to raise wimps who don't stand up for what they believe and are always submissive, but they do need to know the time and place as to when they can express themselves. This is critical for children to learn so that they know in an emergency that that's time to follow orders. But it also means that you have to frequently take time to listen to them and talk to them about their beliefs and teach them how the world really works. So, you have to let them express themselves. You got to talk with them, and you got to lay it out to them, on why what they're thinking, what their particular perception about the world is wrong. And they may express this whatever belief, this X belief in something, and teach them why that isn't correct or why it is correct or whatever the case may be. But it takes engagement. And I don't see that a lot in a lot of parents nowadays. I see a lot of disengagement, and so it can sometimes be hard, to talk with your children, and because you don't relate on the same things and that kind of stuff, especially when they play a lot of video games and all that kind of stuff, and I can definitely relate to that. But you really have to try and find areas that you can relate to them and that you can talk with them about how the world works and stuff. Because you do influence them, even though you don't think that you do. You have the biggest influence on them from anybody else. So the next one is self-reliance, and with this one, I think it's important to talk with them about prepping and to get them to understand that it's not done from a place of fear, but from a position of strength, so that we can always be more self-reliant. Because in real life, bad things do happen, and we want to be in a position to help other people around us, and not to have to be a burden on the government or our neighbors. So that's the context that I always try to put prepping into my kids, so that they understand that, we're not worried about the zombie apocalypse, we're not worried about the end of the world or EMPs or any of those kinds of things, because those are really remote possibilities. But we do want to be ready for disasters that do happen, like tornadoes and ice storms and power outages and different things along those lines that we see on a regular basis, forest fires, hurricanes, whatever the case may be. And that's just a product of living in a dangerous world. And so we just want to be a little bit more prepared for it. So again, prepping is not done from a place of fear, but from a position of strength, so that we can be more self-reliant. All right, number 6, first aid. And this is one I need to work on with my kids a little bit more. They know some of the basics, but I need to get more into it. Teach your children the basics of how to use a tourniquet, how to apply pressure dressing, how to stop most bleeding with direct pressure and elevation. They say 90% of bleeding can be stopped with direct pressure and elevation. How to do CPR and the Heimlich maneuver. The more that you can teach them, the better. We've done the CPR and the Heimlich. We've got one of the CPR dummies, and I've also talked with them about tourniquets and stuff along those lines. But I should probably get more in depth on stopping the bleed, packing wounds, different things along those lines. All right, number 7 is wilderness survival skills. Teach them the basics of how to survive in the wilderness: shelter, fire, water purification, navigation by the sun and stars, compass and map, etc. Those are all really important skills to know just for life, especially if you're going to spend time outdoors. And it's something that kids can start to learn at a really early age. You can really start teaching this stuff down, at probably, 6, 7, 8, just depending on what the subject is and how you're relating it to them. But you can teach to it maybe even younger than that. All right, let's see. And the next one is responsibility. This is a big one, and it's one that I see that kids aren't learning very much these days. Teach them personal responsibility and integrity. Don't let them get away with things that that they did. Ensure that they learn the value of being honest and trustworthy. This is hugely important for their ability to function in society and to function in a prepper group if SHTF. People need to trust you. Always teach them personal responsibility and carrying their own weight by doing chores and helping out as part of the group. I think that's another one that's important these days. Find something for kids to do that helps them to develop a sense of belonging and a sense of that they're contributing. That's important for their development, as an adult and everything. Okay, number 9 is civics. Teach them the constitutional republic system of government and the importance of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and that it relies on us being active participants in the process. I think that's really, really important. It's not just enough to teach kids about the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. It's really important to have them see you participating, to see you voting, to see you going to rallies, to see you writing your congressman and talking to your congressman and showing them what being active in the political process looks like. That's important, because if you don't see you do it, they're not going to see anybody else do it. So they probably won't do it when they get older, and that is a problem for everybody. The other thing with this one too is teach them the dangers of socialism and communism, and I think that's hugely important. There's my shirt here, Socialism Kills. You can get that on Teespring if you'd like, down in the bar below. I can't stress that one enough. Teaching them civics and teaching them the dangers of socialism and communism, I think, is really, really important. All right, number 10 is teach them to shoot and to hunt. Start teaching the importance of firearm safety at a very early age. I think pretty much from the time that they can understand you is when you need to start, teaching them firearm safety. At the age 3 or 4 or 5, it might be as simple as, if you see a gun laying out, you don't touch it, you come get an adult or something along those lines. And then as they get older and they're able to actually handle guns and understand instruction, for my kids it was probably around the ages of 8 to 11, somewhere in that range. I think Xander was pretty proficient by the time he was 8. Then it really depends on the maturity level of the kid, though. If you have a really immature kid, it might take a little bit longer. If you have a really mature kid, maybe you can do it, before then. It just depends. But start slow and progress as they're able to. Take them hunting, take them shooting out at the range, and by the time they're 18, they should be ready, and competent enough to start taking firearms instruction and tactical training classes, in my opinion. They ought to know the basics of, loading and reloading, shooting and moving, getting to cover, getting off the X, double taps, multiple target drills, those kinds of things. That's all stuff that's very easy to teach. It's very basic, and by the time they get to be 18, they should be proficient in doing that, and from shooting from behind cover as well. Okay, number 11 is, and I think this was an important one too, and it's one that might be overlooked a little bit in the prepper community, is teach them compassion and the value of charity. Show them that caring for others is important, and by being prepared, you're always in a better position to be able to donate to food banks, to help families at Christmas, help people in need, homeless folks, and those kinds of things. Because we need to have compassion in our society. That's an important thing, and it's something that it seems like it's going away a little bit. I don't know that it really is. It's just that there's a perception that it might be. Number 12, and I think this is a hugely important one, and it's one that I've struggled with on and off all my career and still do, and that is avoid debt. Teach them that debt is slavery, and avoiding it at all costs is the smartest way to live and the fastest path to wealth building. It's best done through example, so getting out of debt yourself is an important part of this. I really like the Dave Ramsey system of wealth building and getting out of debt. I think it's effective. I've used it a couple of times, to get out of debt. So I didn't learn my lesson necessarily, but I continually struggle with it. So it's important to get out of debt, and it is will help you build wealth. And that's a good thing. So. Anyway, guys, those are my 12 things. As I said, I got the idea for this video from Nut and Fancy channel. Go out and check his list, see what he says. I don't know. Like I said, I got 3 or 4 minutes into it and decided I was going to do this one as well. So check it out. He's got a huge channel and does all kinds of gear reviews and like way in-depth stuff. And he's also a previous Air Force guy, so he went through the SEER school probably around the time I was there. I don't know exactly, but maybe a little before my time. I'm not sure. But anyhow, as always, definitely appreciate it when you click the thumbs up button. When you share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and don't forget to live the 6 Ps. Proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. Stay safe, guys.